Lean Business Canvas. So with value proposition canvas, you design the value, so the value that you deliver to your customers. But then we were talking, remember, about business models. In fact, there is another course about business modeling that you can refer to, but I wanted to mention the Lean Canvas. So it's another tool that you can use to design and go on designing your business model. The Lean Canva would have 9 elements. So it's a simplified version of the business canvas that same Yves Pignot and Alex Osterwalder have developed. So Lean Canvas would start with problems. So problems are exactly your customer jobs that you just listed in the value proposition Canva. Then second, you would look at the customer segments. Again, you just made this exercise if you just went through value proposition Canva. Then the third, you look in the middle, unique value proposition. That's exactly when you need to formulate what actually your value. And then below you would have this so-called high-level concept, when you need to clearly say who are you. You know, let's say you're a festival, but what type of festival? So it's wow concept festival. I just invented that. So, but you might think about how you say it in a simple term so that people immediately trigger what you mean by your product, what value you offer there. And then you need to offer the outline the solution. That's a special part for that. Then you have channels. Channels is how do you reach the segment, customer segments, with your unique value proposition. Then of course there are revenue streams. So how you can make revenue, what is the pricing models, or how you generate revenue. These are different ways of doing that. Then you have cost structure. What would be your cost to deliver that value? Then while looking through all that, you would know what are your key metrics for your value delivery, maybe for your revenues, or maybe for your costs, because you want to keep them down, revenues up, and you need to make sure that you know how to measure that your customers are satisfied, what are the metrics for your value proposition. And then of course there is a final very interesting point, is unfair advantage. What is the unfair advantage? In a business model you might have something that it's not easy to copy. It means either you have exclusivity with the artist, or you have a trademark on something, or you have you've designed such a lineup at your music festival that no one else can repeat. And that's in a way, or you take the date in the calendar, music calendar, that everyone knows. Let's say in Lviv there is this great Alpha Jazz Festival, and they know that in June, in a certain weekend, there is this great jazz event in Lviv. And in a way it's unfair advantage, because whoever else will try to do the jazz festival at the same time, well, it's unfair to them, but most likely all the audience will go to Lviv for this Alpha Jazz Festival. And that's unfair advantage, and in fact, it's fair. It's fair to have unfair advantage. So you see, that's how your value proposition canvas transfers into the business model Canva, or Lean Canva. So do this exercise in order to make sure that you understand how your value that your business, your organization creates, converts into the actual operational model, business model, and pricing model. Thank you for watching this course. I hope that you enjoyed it and you learned something new and useful for further work. Please know that there are some additional information, cases and materials and useful links that you can check just below this video. Thank you and bye.